What's going on? I'm Rossdude, here to tell you a little bit about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Whoa.
I don't want to say if you legitimately like this film, you have a low IQ, but if you legitimately like this film, you have a low IQ. Because you are watching all the things happen so fast, and the critical part of your brain that kicks in, that's supposed to kick in.
It doesn't have time to.
Wait a minute. It keeps going by. It's like being on some kind of roller coaster ride where you can't even process. You know what I mean? It's just all the undulations and the speed, and then at the end, I think that was fun.
I liked it.
Don't lose your way, your mind.
Episode 9 is upon us. The sequel trilogy. Beloved by SJWs and loathed by true Star Wars fans, such as myself. Now wait a minute. Hold up. Wait, do I really hate the sequel trilogy? Do I really? I had fun. I had fun in all of them. They're shit. The Last Jedi is garbage money food. But regardless, I still walked away having had a good time. Does that mean that I hate them? No, I just believe that the original sequels were much better. The original sequels being, of course, the Glove of Darth Vader trilogy. Now that's a story for a different day. We'll get there later. I'll talk about that in a whole nother video. The true sequel, the Glove of Darth Vader trilogy, absolutely phenomenal. Mwah. Best Star Wars sequel, and the Disney sequel pairs in comparison. This sequel trilogy doesn't even come close. That said, The Rise of Skywalker was a fun time. I had a good time. Pretty much from start to finish. It was sort of like strapping yourself in one of those little like car rides at those farm theme park. You know what I'm talking about? Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Farm theme park? For babies? The one where you strap in and it goes like really slow, just slowly around a track. Yeah, it was like that. I love those things. Those are great. So anyways, we have The Last Jedi.
You mean The Rise of Skywalker, you pathetic imbecile.
We have our favorite heroes, Rey. Alright. Rey. We got Poe Dameron. And we have Finn, as well as a host of new characters who we meet for 2 seconds and barely get to know anything about. Yeah. Alright, so this movie has its problems. It's a fast movie. It's definitely, you miss, you're not paying attention for a second, and you miss like a whole line of dialogue. You're like, it's definitely got some problems. It's definitely 2 movies being crammed into one to try and sort of retroactively fix The Last Jedi, which is funny. It's really funny, and it's definitely got a lot of there's a lot of things that go left unexplained. How did Maz Kanata get Luke's lightsaber? There's a bunch of other things that I don't want to spoil right now. I want to wait for a second here. Before we get to the spoilers. So I saw the movie Christmas Eve with my mom, my stepdad, and my son. Halfway through the movie, my son got restless, and he was more interested in the nice reclining chairs that we had in that theater than he was the actual movie. Now, the movie theater didn't have a lot of people in it. I don't know if that's because this movie's not doing well. I'm not sure. The internet's been kind of mum on how exactly well it's been doing. But it was a small town. My mom lives in a small town, damn near a village, and there's just there's not a lot of people going to the movie theater. It's just that's how it is. And so I saw it Christmas Eve, and so because it was mostly empty, I could chat with my mom and my son. My stepdad, I think, was even on his phone for some parts of the movie. I don't know. He must have missed a lot because, like I said, you turn away for a second, you'll miss a whole big chunk of explanations, which, that doesn't make for a good movie. I'm not saying that is good, but I was able to, pick away at it, make fun of it with my mom and my son, and it was funny. And there was even moments... There's a moment at the end where my son got all excited, and that made me excited. So I'll get to that in a second. As a matter of fact, let's just cut the shit and get right down to the shit, which is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
You got it right that time, you sickening whelp. You make me want to puke.
This is episode 9. Spoilers. Spoilers ahead, ye traveler. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't worry about it. Now wait. I went into the movie completely spoiled. Totally spoiled. I knew everything. I'd watched Red Letter Media's review of it. But I watched their review of it. I watch Vinny Vinesauce, who's I love Vinny, and he's a huge part of why I even do streaming and videos and stuff. So I listened to what he had to say about it. Twitter was full of leaks. Reddit had tons of leaks. Saw all these images. I pretty much knew everything. There was one little thing I didn't know, which came as a surprise, but it was a really stupid surprise. But I'll get there. All right. Okay, so we have the movie. The movie opens up, and the word crawl, the title crawl, whatever you call it, basically says, "Yo, there's a message going throughout the galaxy. Palp is back. Palpy is back. The Senate has returned. He's here. Emperor Palpatine, Emperor of the Sith, Emperor of the Empire, Darth Sidious, he is back." Which, right off the bat, it's wait. We knew this. We knew it was coming. It was pretty much confirmed before the movie even came out in the trailer. You hear his voice being so he's back. To no one's surprise, he's back. But right off the bat, we have some questions here. How? I mean, remember in Return of the Jedi, the Death Star 2 was completely vaporized, totally destroyed. And that's after Palpatine was thrown down a reactor shaft in which he exploded and weird blue energy came flowing up from the reactor shaft. All right. So, okay, he's back. How? Don't know. No way of telling. But he's back. He's back. It talks about Rey's training to hone her Jedi powers with Leia. And then also it says Kylo Ren he's now going out to seek Emperor Palpatine because he doesn't want anybody sort of coming in on his power, his action. So yeah, we've got some things. Right off the bat, we've got a whole new thing going on from what was happening in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Yes, The Last Jedi subverted expectations, but it still went off of what had happened in The Force Awakens. This movie is fuck all that shit. It's off on its own tangent. You've got The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and then you've got The Rise of Skywalker. Just fuck it. Here's a whole new thing happening over here. A completely new thing. So Kylo Ren is fighting is fighting dudes on some kind of fiery-looking planet. Maybe it's Mustafar. I don't know. I've heard people say it is Mustafar. It doesn't necessarily look like Mustafar. There's like trees and shit, but whatever. And he's fighting these dudes, and it actually looks great. It looks fine. Adam Driver is, in top form. I want to say he's in top form kind of throughout this whole movie. I really enjoyed his performance in this movie. I actually enjoyed all their performances in this movie, but I'll explain that later. He's fighting them, and boom. It's really fast. It's a really fast sequence. He fights him, he kills him, and he finds like this treasure chest, and he pushes open the top, and there's this little pyramid thing in there. This little, for Star Wars fans, you might be like, oh, holocron? The Sith holocron? Because those are usually pyramid shaped. Yeah, it's green. It's not red, like the classic Sith holocron. It's green, and it's like a map. Yeah, it's a Sith map. Sith Wayfinder, they call it. And Kylo Ren plugs it up to his TIE fighter, his TIE Interceptor, or whatever the fuck he has. I don't even know what it's called, what his TIE fighter's called, but his TIE fighter, he hooks it up, and he uses it to fly to the Sith planet. Which the name escapes me at the moment. It's something real goofy too, like Exilius or Silica or fucking I don't know.
It's Exegol, you stupid.
I forget its name. Okay, it's a secret Sith planet, basically, super secret Sith planet, and he goes there, he lands there, and like the Emperor's like, finally, you've come. I've been waiting for you. I'm the Sith. I'm back, and I've died before, but that doesn't matter now. And then he talks about Rey. He's like, you must bring her to me. Here's a secret. And it cuts out before we, as the audience, know what he told to, what Palpatine told to Kylo Ren. So Kylo Ren goes back to the First Order, and he's trying to convince his boys that, like, yeah, we gotta team up with Sidious. Sidious has this huge fleet somehow. Not even just a huge fleet. Yeah, he's got it fully manned too. Don't know where these people came from. Don't know who they are. We don't know any of this. We never will. The Star Destroyers like come up from the planet's surface, like underneath the planet. They're building them underneath the planet, I guess. I don't know. But a huge fleet of old Star Destroyers too. They're not of the First Order design. And Kylo Ren's like being like, "Hey, Emperor's back. We gotta do this. We gotta team up with him." And one of the generals is like, "I don't know about this shit." And Kylo Ren goes, "Go to hell." And he basically like super force chokes him, flings his body up to the ceiling, in classic Kylo Ren meltdown style. And then it cuts to Rey training in the woods, wherever the Resistance is hanging out. I don't even know. I don't know what that planet is. It looks kind of like Endor, a little prettier, I guess. There's more water going on for waterfalls and stuff. And bottom line is she is training with the little remote droid, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. But you could tell like anger is sort of driving her tactics in this training session, and she ends up like destroying like some like nature, and I think she breaks. She accidentally breaks BB-8 or something like that, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she almost breaks BB-8, and Leia's training her. And she has a quick force connection with Kylo Ren, real quick, and Kylo Ren's like, "Hey, look, Palpy's back, so maybe you might want to like reconsider, not teaming up with me." And she's like, "Oh, you're just serving a new master, huh? Okay, real cool. Yeah, And he goes, yeah, I have my own plans, bitch. Pretty much. He's like, yeah, you know what, bitch? I pretty much have my own plans. So, you know, why don't you join with me and just, you know, we'll deal with this. And she's like, you know, she's like, get away, creep. You're creeping up on me. Get out. Be gone. Be gone, Kylo Ren. And so I think you see all this actually after we get a little action sequence with Poe and Finn on the Millennium Falcon. They're flying into an area where somebody has information about what's going on in the First Order and Palpatine, because there's a spy in the First Order. And they have this information, they hand it off to Millennium Falcon. TIE fighters are coming, there's a little bit of action. Poe does something called hyperdrive jumping, where basically he just jumps without entering any coordinates, stops, jumps, stops. I don't really remember what the purpose of that was, other than like, hey, whoa, we're doing dangerous shit. But we do see that the TIE fighters actually have hyperdrive capabilities, which is interesting. So they actually can actually do that. That's definitely an upgrade from old Empire TIE fighters. Unless we're going off of the Thrawn TIE fighters from the very beginning of Heir to the Empire that are coming out of hyperdrive after they do that raid for the information on where to find the little reptiles that repel force. But anyways, I always saw those TIE fighters as being modified for that specific mission anyways. So Poe's doing this hyperdrive jumping and to lose them, and all the TIE fighters crash, and the Millennium Falcon gets back to the Resistance base, kind of beat to shit from crashing into stuff and doing that hyperdrive jumping. And he's all pissed off that raid, almost broke BB-8, and she's all pissed off that he didn't treat the Falcon well on there. It's kind of a nice little back and forth, which is a huge improvement from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, where our main characters in those movies didn't have a whole lot of interaction, especially Poe. So one thing about The Rise of Skywalker that I think is a huge improvement is the use of Poe Dameron. Oscar Isaac does a good job. He's actually, part of the team, a part of the main character, the trio team. You got Rey, Poe, and Finn. Like, he actually is a part of that team. He's not something else. He's not missing for half the movie. Really good use of the character. So I liked him. I liked him in this movie. I thought he was great. We'll get to a part about him later, though, that is interesting. So Finn is like, hey, Rey, we should have you out there because we really need you out in the fight rather than, sitting here and, throwing around your lightsaber and not doing shit. Basically, he tells Rey to pull her goddamn weight. So, bravo, Finn. Bravo. Finn is a lot less goofy in this movie. He's a lot less sort of immature. He gives off this immature vibe in the Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. More like he's like just a comic relief kind of goofball, almost kind of like a Jar Jar Binks-esque character. In this movie, he actually feels a little bit more grown up. He's got a little bit more to do too. He's almost like the voice of reason in this movie. You have Poe, who's like really hot-headed. Then you have Rey, who's struggling with the dark side issues going on, and she's a little impatient and getting angry. And Finn is sort of like the character who sort of calms them all down, like levels them down. And it's actually a good chemistry. It's actually a good blend, and it's a shame that they didn't get this right until the last movie when they're ending it all, and like all these actors don't even want to return for Star Wars or anything like that. Like they're done with all the drama that comes with being in a big Star Wars movie and all of that stuff. So they just want to skip out, and they didn't get it right until the end, and for this movie, which is actually 2 movies crammed into one. All right, so it almost in that sense, it doesn't even feel like one movie. It's very strange. It's a strange movie. It's a very boggling movie. Like it's so, and like keep in mind everything I've said up to this point is like 10 minutes into the movie. Like we're not even 15 minutes in. All right, so they decode the information that they got from the spy. And it's like, oh, our biggest fears have been confirmed. Emperor Palpatine survived the second Death Star somehow. He's back. He's back, folks. Emperor Palpatine, he's back, and he's on this Sith world. Ithaca. Eccles?
It's Exegol, you ignorant fuck.
Fuck it. He's back. And they have to find out where he is. They gotta find out where he is. Where is he at? And Rey, after just having an interaction with Kylo, is now kind of peeved, and she's like, you know what? I'm going with you. I'm going with you. And Leia's kind of like, hey, don't be so hot-headed here. That's how motherfuckers lose hands and become seduced by the dark side. But she's like, no, I'm off. They fixed the Millennium Falcon real quick somehow. I don't know. And then Poe, Finn, Chewie, 3PO, and BB-8 fly off the Millennium Falcon, and they go to... Where the fuck do they go? They go somewhere. They have to find the second Sith wayfinder or map or triangle thing, basically. And I can't remember exactly where they get this information, but they go to a planet. There is a spaceship, an old spaceship, supposedly the pilot of the spaceship had something to do with Sith or whatever. And they think that the spaceship, the database might have some clue as to where to find this Sith wayfinder. So they go to this desert planet, not quite Tatooine, not quite Jakku. It's desert-ish with some rocks, and there's this weird celebration going on with elephant-type people, aliens. And they're shooting off like powdery fireworks and stuff. I don't know. And of course, though, they have this line where like, we got to be careful about this celebration. The First Order always likes to have patrols in in celebrations and stuff. And it's like, I'm just thinking, does the First Order really have a lot of power here on this planet? Like, these elephant people aren't going to be like, hey, we're celebrating this this joyous life day or whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. There's only like 2 stormtroopers, only 4 stormtroopers. Be gone. Be gone, stormtroopers. I guess that planet is under First Order control, but like nothing bad is really happening there. I don't know. I don't know. All right, I do not know what the fuck is going on with that planet. Anyway, stormtroopers do show up, but then Lando shoots one with a crossbow. Stormtrooper takes an arrow to the eyeball. Oh yeah, and it's Lando. Yeah, he shows up in a mask, but he's like wobbling around. He's kind of thick. He's a thick boy, and you're like, that's fucking Lando. That's Billy D right there. And it's Lando, and it's good to see Lando, and he does fine. He's all right. And Lando's like, yeah, there's that ship over there that you're all looking for over there. And he's like, yeah, give your regards to the princess for me. And of course, stormtroopers on dirt bikes show up, and they fling stormtroopers with jetpacks. All right, which is, stormtroopers with jetpacks. It's an idea that's pretty common. It's watch Star Wars Rebels. They've got jetpacks. Even in a lot of old EU stuff, there was stormtroopers with jetpacks. It's not a new thing, but of course, like, all the characters, like, they fly now? They fly now. Oh, they fly now. Okay. Okay. Do you guys know anything about Star Wars? So, they tried to make that joke, and it's also interesting that, like, why wouldn't stormtroopers be riding speeder bikes? They're riding these wheeled sand dirt bikes type things or something. Big wheel dirt bikes. I don't know. I mean, it does not look bad. It doesn't look bad. It's fine. Yeah, they're shooting the stormtroopers. A little chase sequence goes down, and it's all fine. It's all fine action. They get to the ship that they're looking for that's been there for a long time, like 30 years or something. And Rey's like, I've seen this ship before. I've seen this ship. And it's the ship that you see really quickly in The Force Awakens during her flashback when she touches Anakin's lightsaber. And they find that ship, they get in that ship, but then Rey feels something weird. She's like, hold on a second. She walks off. Alright. The Knights of Ren show up. The Knights of Ren, which we heard a little bit about in The Force Awakens. They're supposed to be these badasses. Alright, we don't see them do shit. We don't see them do shit in this movie. They show up. We have a little scene of them kind of like eyeballing the spaceship that all the heroes are at. And so Rey sneaks off because she feels something coming. And then they're like, oh shit, we gotta go. And Poe and Finn are like, Chewie, go get Rey. So Chewie goes to get Rey. Chewie gets caught by stormtroopers. Yeah, even though when we see them loading Chewbacca into a transport ship, the Knights of Ren are like stationed perimeter around the transport ship, but we didn't see them capture Chewie or anything. That's all done off screen, off camera. And Rey's off, and Kylo Ren's TIE fighter comes down, and he's flying, and he's weaving through rocks. Never mind. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the minor details. It's all about the big picture. It's all about the fun and the excitement. He's weaving around. She does a little turn move, which is in the trailer. This scene's in the trailer, and I mean, it doesn't show the whole scene, but it's like we all knew what was going to happen. It's standard fare at this point. This is like anime stuff going on here, which this movie does remind me a lot of Animu. And not in a good way. But I still enjoy the film. So she's running now away from the TIE fighter that's coming. And she does like this impossible backflip as the TIE fighter's coming. And she clears the TIE fighter and of course cuts the wing with her lightsaber. And it crashes. And Kylo Ren is dead. Never to be seen again. The end. No, I'm just kidding. It's not the end. He's not dead. He's fine. He's perfectly fine. He gets out of the wreckage. And just as he's getting out of the wreckage, you see the transport ship taking off with Chewie. And Rey's like, no, Chewie! And she uses the Force to stop the transport ship. And it's like, it's stopped and it's trying to fight against the Force. And then Kylo Ren uses the Force on the transport ship. And there's like this tug of war. And you can tell Rey's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And all of a sudden, she unleashes a Force lightning that goes up to the transport ship. And explode ship. Ship explodes. And she goes, no, Chewie! And we think Chewie's dead. I mean, surely he must have died in that explosion, right? I mean, wouldn't that be something if Rey has to live with that regret that she killed Chewie? Like, that would be interesting. That would be cool. Chewie's not dead. He's not dead. Don't even worry about it. So, Finn and Poe get Rey aboard this ship. This old ship that they were looking for. I missed something, didn't I? I did. I missed something. Rewind. Before the TIE Fighter and the Knights of Ren show up, our team falls into like a sand pit. This is like right after the motorcycle chase. They fall into a sand pit, and they find this snake. It's a snake. No step on snake. Hiss. And Rey, they don't fight it. Rey's like, don't worry. It's just hurt, basically. It's just got like a cut. And she goes over and she touches it and she heals it using Force Heal, which is an interesting thing. Force Heal is an interesting thing. Force Heal makes sense from a video game perspective, but not in a theatrical sense, because, okay, Force Heal. Obi-Wan didn't Force Heal Qui-Gon. Luke didn't Force Heal, Anakin at the end there. What? So, my explanation for this is that, and this is kind of new to me at least, I heard in that the Jedi Fallen Order game that they make a part of like Star Wars lore, Force lore, that individual Jedis have their own individual gifts. I think the main character in Jedi Fallen Order can sort of like see the past from certain objects and see what happened to them, which, I guess not all Jedi can do that. So maybe that's the case. Maybe Rey's personal power is she can do Force Heal. That's would be the case if only thing is in The Mandalorian, Baby Yoda can Force Heal, which, okay, maybe they share very similar Force gifts, but that I can't rely completely on that explanation. At this point, I now know 2 Jedis who can Force Heal. Or I guess Baby Yoda's not a Jedi yet, and maybe Rey is not technically a Jedi yet, but light side Force users doing Force Heal. So I don't know. I really don't know what that's about. It doesn't really explain that. A lot of things it doesn't explain. But she heals Snake. Snake becomes friend. Down there, they find the corpse of the pilot of the ship, and on the corpse around his bones, there is a Sith dagger that has Sith encryption on it. And they're like, yo, 3PO, translate this shit. And he says, I can't. I was like, I know what it says, but I can't mutter it. I can't speak Sith language. It's against my programming. You're gonna have to wipe my memory banks in order to do it. And they're like, yeah, okay, sure, no problem. Fuck you, 3PO. Read this shit. We're gonna wipe your memory. Okay, so now going back, Rey killed Chewie. We think she killed Chewie. They get into the old spaceship and they take off because they know the First Order will be waiting for them at the Millennium Falcon. So they're flying around in this old ship that is familiar to Rey. And they go to this snowy planet. It looks like planet Europe, like planet 1940s Europe. It looks cool. Again, it's not really utilized because they have to keep going. You gotta keep going with this movie because, like I said, this movie is 2 movies crammed into one. It's the Episode 8 remake and Episode 9 crammed into one. They go to this planet. They go into this shady pub place to find this underground droid hacker who is what's his name, Booba Frick or something like that. He's a little cute guy that goes, hey. Yeah, it's that guy. We were cracking up with that character, so, say what you will. We were having a good time with him. My mom and my son and I we were cracking up with that character. So that character was fun. He was fun. But on this planet, you meet the bounty hunter or mercenary or somebody. I forget her name. Zabi? Zena? Zuba? I don't know. Anyways, she was Poe's old main squeeze. I guess they rode together in the same gang or the same team. And here you find out the biggest shocker of all. That Poe used to be a spice runner. That's right, he used to be a drug runner, a filthy, low-down drug runner, just like Han Solo. So you go, oh yeah, cool, just like Han Solo. Remember how Han Solo had to dump all that spice because the Empire checkpoint caught him? Yeah. So we're trying to replace Han Solo, are we, with Poe Dameron? And we find out that he had a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend. So Poe Dameron confirmed for the not gay, which is funny because the internet for a long time had really wanted to set up a homosexual relationship with Finn and Poe. Well, that didn't happen. Don't worry, though. Finn does not end up with Rose. Interestingly enough, he's more interested in this ex-stormtrooper lady, which we'll talk about later. So anyways, Poe Dameron's ex-girlfriend's like, hey, I've got this like chip. It's an officer's chip. You can use it to, I guess, broadcast a signal that will let you into any Star Destroyer. Any Star Destroyer. They're not even gonna check. Anyone can fly on in. As if, people don't try doing that all the time. No one's gonna check that. And she gives that to Poe. So they use that. So the little Booba Frick guy like rewires 3PO and gets his data erased, and they have him translate the Sith language, and 3PO's eyes get all red, like evils. He becomes evil Sith 3PO for a second, and he basically says, "Oh yeah, this is where the other Sith Wayfinder is. It's basically on it's on the old Death Star." Now, wait a minute. Wasn't the Death Star evaporated, like in the atoms? Nope, it wasn't. So they go to this planet. I think it's like even part of the Endor system, like it is near Endor or something. I don't know. I think they did mention it being connected to Endor some way, but they go to this planet. Oh well, hold up. Let me go back to the snowy Europe planet for a second. So the snowy Europe planet is really under strict First Order control. Like they're doing like door-to-door like checks. They've got ATSTs roaming around the streets. They've got platoons of stormtroopers walking around the streets. They're questioning everybody who's walking around. Like it's a lot more strict than the Elephant People planet. And they gotta fly out. They gotta get out. So they use the chip, officer's chip, to board Kylo Ren's command ship because he knows that Rey's there. So he goes there. He knows through the Force or whatever. He knows she's around there. He can't pinpoint exactly where she is. So his command ship's flying around there, and they decide to go into the ship. Because Rey can sense Chewie is on the ship. Chewie's on the ship somehow. He blew up in transport, but psych you out. Tricked ya. He's on Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer. So they sneak on board there using their ship, and Poe and Finn split from Rey. Rey goes do her own thing, and they find Chewbacca. They let him out. But they get captured. All three of them get captured again. And Rey ends up going to Kylo Ren's like collection room where he has collections of different things, and including Darth Vader's charred helmet. And that's where they have another like Force connection. Her and Kylo Ren. Except this time they start fighting. They start fighting in this sort of connection. And one thing about this connection is they can actually pull physical things from each other, and it will be where they are. It will become where they are, and that was shown in The Last Jedi. You know, when they would have those discussions, and then Kylo Ren would walk away with like water on his hand from the Luke planet. The Luke planet. I don't know the names. This just goes to show you how invested I am in all this. They're fighting, and she knocks over the podium where Darth Vader's helmet is, and it lands in front of Kylo Ren. Like, he's on the planet because he thought she was down there. It lands right in front of him, so it actually went through, you know, space or whatever. And he's like, "Oh shit, I know where you're at. You're on my ship." Anyways, Chewie and in that fight, in that little confrontation, that is when Kylo Ren tells Rey the big secret that is not very surprising at all. Rey is Palpatine, the Senate's granddaughter. All right. But she's like, "You're full of shit." She's basically like, "You're full of shit, Kylo. You've always been full of shit. Fuck you." And she books it out of there. Just in time when he shows up to try and get her. The Millennium Falcon's also aboard the Star Destroyer because the First Order towed it up there. I don't remember why. I don't know why they did that. I don't know. Like, Kylo Ren wanted to like keep it as like he's got some sentimental value to it since it belonged to his father. I can't remember, but it's up there. Millennium Falcon's up there, and Rey books it. Poe, Finn, and Chewie are captured again. They're about to be executed by stormtroopers, and General Hux is there, and he's like, "Oh, let me do it." And he kills the stormtroopers. General Hux, my friends, is the spy. Biggest shocker of the whole movie. Now, what is his reasoning why he's the spy? This is the legit. This is the line word for word. "I don't care if you win, as long as Kylo Ren loses." What? So they shoot General Hux in the leg to make it look like, you know, they got away by force. And they all get on, all of them, and even Rey get on the Millennium Falcon, and they fly off. Oh, I think she kind of has a little fight there with Kylo Ren real quick to keep him from, you know, getting everybody. And she jumps onto the ramp, like, as the Millennium Falcon actually is flying. And it's like engines like push stormtroopers back, and Kylo Ren, I think, has to brace himself for the Force. But they fly off, and like the very next scene, General Hux is like, "Yeah, they shot me and got away." And I think the other general, which is like, or fleet admiral, who's like his father or something, is like, just shoots him, and he's dead. General Hux is dead. That's it. That's it. So the Millennium Falcon flies off and goes to this Endor planet or whatever, where the chunks of Death Star are. And I mean chunks. I mean a lot of it is still intact, which is weird. I mean, Rey takes like a canoe thing and braves these huge waves to go and see the ruins of this Death Star, because apparently the Wayfinder is in the Death Star. I don't know if it's been there all along. I mean, was it there when Luke was fighting Darth Vader? Could Luke have just gone to the next room over and been like, "Oh shit, what's this? Is this the map to Secret Sith World?" I don't know. But she goes there, and like, you can even see like the stormtrooper like armor and weapons and stuff lying around, like perfectly fine almost. I mean, it's cool visually. It's really cool, and well done. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you stop to think about it. In fact, as a matter of fact, most of this movie doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Does that stop it from being fun? No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And as a matter of fact, I think it only kind of, for a sequel trilogy, it kind of made it more fun because I could sit there with my mom and be like, wait, what the fuck was that all about? And we can kind of like tease it, and have fun doing that. So Rey finds this, she finds the Sith map, and she's attacked by Dark Rey, which you see in the trailer, so not a big surprise. It's a vision, really. It's a vision. And you see Dark Rey, and Dark Rey, they fight for real fast, and Dark Rey's really aggressive, and she's like, yeah, join the dark side, and she kisses, and like her teeth get sharp, for that hiss, and Rey falls back, and she looks over, she drops the Wayfinder, and it rolls, and she looks over at it, and Kylo Ren is there, and he picks it up, and he actually is there. It's not just a Force connection. And he basically says the same stuff, join me or whatever, and we'll handle this together. Don't worry. And he breaks the Wayfinder, basically. And they fight it out, and they fight it on the water. They're fighting. It's a good fight, and Kylo Ren is winning. He's winning the fight, and it's a solid fight. And he's winning, and it cuts back to the Resistance base, and they're like, oh, Leia is going to use the last of her energy to reach out to her son, and try and say, hey, don't do this, which is cool, but also, if you really cared about your son, wouldn't have you done this sooner? And it might not be the actual communication that brings Ben Solo back to the good side. It might be the fact that he feels his mother pass or something. I don't know. But basically, Leia does die, reaching out to Ben. And as he's fighting Rey, he kind of stops to feel his mother pass, and Rey uses that opportunity to stab him through with the lightsaber. Kylo Ren dies. Happy ending, the end. Oh, no, just kidding. Got you again, didn't I? No! Kylo Ren is not dead. He is dying, and Rey decides to use Force Heal on him for some reason. Now, this is exactly where Force Heal would have been useful, like when Qui-Gon had been ran through by Darth Maul's saber. Because it's the exact same wound, pretty much. And she heals his wound. And she runs off, all emotional. And she steals Kylo Ren's TIE fighter. He has a new one, somehow. She steals it, and she flies to the Luke planet. And she crashes it. And she's angry and mean and throwing things at it, pissed off, and all this shit. And she takes Anakin's lightsaber and chucks it into the flames too, but it gets caught by Ghost Luke. And she basically says to Ghost Luke, but I thought you said all of this shit that you said in The Last Jedi, blah, 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 blah. And Luke says, yeah, I was wrong. The Last Jedi is a completely null and void movie. Like, it doesn't even exist anymore. It doesn't do anything. Nothing happened in The Last Jedi. It is completely undone. 100%. It is now officially a waste of time. For better or for worse. It's just funny that you have a whole movie in the Star Wars saga that literally amounts to jack shit. So anyways, Luke tells her, oh, he was wrong. He tells her, don't worry about your heritage. You're a good person. You are a good person. You can go and confront the Emperor. She's like, but the Wayfinder was destroyed. And Luke's like, oh, no, there were 2. Wink, wink. And she goes, oh. And she goes to the wreckage of the TIE fighter that she crashed and pulls out of its little compartment. Reminds me like a passenger seat compartment, storage compartment. She pulls that out. Oh, here it is. And she pulls it out. And Luke uses the Force to raise up his X-Wing out of the waters, which you saw in The Last Jedi. He was under the water there. He used the Force to raise it up, even though he's a Force ghost. But again, we established in The Last Jedi that, oh yeah, Force ghosts can do crazy shit like force lightning a fucking tree. But anyways, Luke uses the Force to bring his X-Wing up. She gets in his X-Wing and attaches the Sith Wayfinder to it. And she flies off to ethical or ethics. Fucking, I don't even... Darth Icicle? I don't know.
It's ethical! Ethical, you dumb motherfucker!
She flies off to that planet, navigates through all the ion storms or whatever it takes to get there. She flies there and lands there to go face the Emperor, and she sets off a beacon basically back to the Resistance so that they can follow her. And Poe and Finn, who is now best buds with an ex-Stormtrooper woman who they teamed up with back on the Death Star planet. But she's so insignificant that I even forgot to mention her during that sequence. But yes, they meet her and the Space Horses. Mind you, yeah, they got Space Horses. They're like a whole tribe of ex-Stormtroopers that revolted or something. And he's now best friends with her. And it's kind of I feel like their relationship is kind of romantic. So, sorry, Rose, you're out. You're friend-zoned. You're done. You're done. Just walk away, Rose. Just walk away. Get with Mary from Lord of the Rings. That's right. Mary's in here. Mary's in this movie. He has like one important line, which is, why don't we just do a Holdo maneuver? And it's like brushed off as like, no, that's what's 1 in a million. Or something like that. I was like, basically they're saying, nah, we can't just do that. We can't just kamikaze starships into Star Destroyers anymore. Because that would ruin the movie. It'd be cheap. We can't do that. It's also just like another kind of fuck the Last Jedi kind of moment. So yeah, that's his line. Yeah, he's in it. Mary Brandybuck. Yep. So the First Order is now teamed up with the Sith fleet. General Hux's dad is like leading them, and they have a Death Star cannon attached to the underbelly of the Star Destroyers. So now, I guess they basically have a fleet of like miniature Death Stars, I guess. Star Destroyer shaped Death Stars. And they blow up some planet, I don't even know. The Emperor was like, destroy a planet that they love. And it's like a forest planet or something. I don't know. It's like a pretty looking planet, and they blow it up, and they're like, good. And now, but they can't just go out and start blowing up planets for some reason. Like, they need to be coordinated via this signal device, and I don't remember. It's like one dialogue explanation as to why the fleet can't mobilize. So the Resistance follows Rey basically to the Sith planet, and they're fighting the fleet. They're heavily outnumbered, but Poe is like, Lando will bring like everybody. Basically, everybody will show up. Everybody else who's not evil Sith will show up and fight the bad guys. But they're getting their ass handed to them, basically, because there's too many, and no one's showing up. And meanwhile, Rey's confronting the Emperor, and the Emperor's like, that's right, I'm your great-grandpappy, and your father was my son, but he sucked. He's shit. And but you won't be shit. He says, kill me in your anger and become the Empress of the Empire, basically, of the Sith. And sit on the Sith throne. And so she's gonna. But if we kind of go back, let's backtrack a little bit again. Let's backtrack to the Death Star planet. After Kylo Ren heals from his wound, Rey flies off. Kylo Ren is looking off into the ocean, contemplating, and you hear Ben, and he turns around, and it's Harrison Ford. He's back, Han Solo, and he's like, Finn, it's still not too late. And he's like, it is too late. I can't go back. And he was like, son, I love you. You gotta do the right thing. And so Kylo Ren ends up throwing his Sith lightsaber into the water, forsaking his Sith ways. And he flies to the Sith planet behind Rey. And he's jumped by the Knights of Ren. And he doesn't have a lightsaber or anything. And the Emperor is talking to Rey. He's like, cut me down. And she's like raising her lightsaber behind her, like as if she's gonna slash him down. But she uses the Force Bond to let Kylo grab the lightsaber. So all of a sudden he has a lightsaber and he fights the Knights of Ren and takes them down with not a whole lot of issues. In a pretty fun little sequence. But that's it for the Knights of Ren. We didn't learn anything about them. They didn't say anything. They didn't really do anything. Kind of throwaway. And, kind of like how Phasma was a throwaway character. Like, built up to be this cool, scary thing, and then there's like, nah, fuck it. Throw them in the trash. Don't need them. And Kylo shows up to help Rey against Palpy. And Palpy uses the bond, the energy between Rey and Ben, uses that energy bond to revitalize himself. And then he's like, ow, well, now that I'm healed and revitalized, you don't need Rey to become the Empress. I'm the true Emperor. And so he fucking tosses Ben into a pit and starts doing this electrical force lightning that goes all over the fucking sky, hitting every single resistance ship. At this point, I think Lando did show up with everybody, like a whole fleet of ships, and he's like, "Oh, fuck it," he's just force lightning all the good guys' ships, and they've lost energy, and they're all falling. They've lost their power, and they're all falling, and it looks like it's their end. But then Rey's like, she hears the voices of all the Jedi that came before her. You got Obi-Wan, Luke, Anakin, Qui-Gon, Mace Windu is in there, Yoda. They're all in there, being like, all of our power is in you. And so she gets up, and she's got her one lightsaber, and Palpatine's like, I'm all the Sith. And Rey is like, she says, like, I'm all the Jedi. And she uses the Force to grab the lightsaber that Kylo had. So she has two lightsabers. And she basically just uses those lightsabers to repel the Force lightning back at Palpatine. So it's like, okay, why didn't you just stop using the Force lightning then? I mean, if it's hurting him, why didn't you just stop doing that? But he doesn't, and it like melts him into Skeleton Boy, and he explodes, and the Sith throne explodes. And then, like, the arena that they're in, or the Sith temple they're in, starts falling apart. And there's all these, like, Sith worshippers in, like, the stadium. And, like, shit's falling on them. And they're all fucking dying. And the good guy ships up there get their power back. And they start blowing up more Star Destroyers. Finn deploys cavalry of Space Forces onto the deck of Star Destroyer. Yeah. So that happens. That's funny. You have your red Sith trooper is going around shooting stuff, not really doing much. Another throwaway, not very scary. Just a standard stormtrooper, but red. Obviously, they just needed a new idea for a new action figure. So yeah, new stormtrooper variant that doesn't really do much. Finn uses a turbo laser on the Star Destroyer to shoot at the Star Destroyer and blow it up, and that's that. That's how that comes to pass. There, that way, the fleet can't mobilize. Like they're just stuck at that planet, and so they become basically just shooting ducks for the good guys, for the Resistance, and they just shred the Sith fleet to pieces. So Rey basically kind of dies at this point. She used too much energy, and she got hurt, and she dies. And then Ben comes crawling out of the pit, and he goes over to Rey, and he gives off his life essence to save Rey's life. They make out, they kiss, so that's good. But then Ben, he dies. He just peels over and dies, which I think is kind of shitty, but whatever. Everyone's celebrating. You can see like shreds of the Sith fleet or the First Order fleet basically just crashing all over the place, and then it does like a Return of the Jedi a Return of the Jedi special edition kind of ending where it shows all these different places in the galaxy, like a handful. Like it shows Bespin, shows Endor, and it shows like Star Destroyers like falling apart and on fire and stuff, and everyone's cheering. And when it showed Endor, they got a little cameo from Wicket, and that is when my son and I looked at each other like, what? And then we both started going, yup, yup, wuchak, gimmity goo, yup, yup. Like, I know Ewoks are kind of regarded as silly amongst the Star Wars fandom, but my son and I get a kick out of them, so we were having fun with that. Poe looks at his old girlfriend. He's like, "Hey, you wanna get up on some of this? You know what I'm talking about?" And she's like, And he goes, "Oh, okay, all right." And it's like, what the fuck is that? You gonna deny that guy after all that shit? Come on, throw him a bone, throw him a fucking bone. And then Lando's sitting on a log. Old Billy D's sitting on a log, and the new stormtrooper chick sits down next to him, and he's like, "Where were you born?" She's like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, let's find out." So it's like, "Oh, is that Lando's daughter?" Maybe. It's possible Lando has many kids. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. And then I think also the movie hints at that Finn also is kind of Force sensitive. Like he could become a Jedi. Like, he feels what Rey's going through and stuff. So we got some of that going on. Maz Kanata gives Chewie the medal from A New Hope, and she's like, "Here you go, Chewie. You deserve this." We never know how she got Anakin's lightsaber in the first place. How did she get that medal? We don't know this shit. We don't know any of this shit. And that is, that's it. It ends with Rey burying Leia's lightsaber. That's right. Leia's lightsaber, I think, was the one that Rey used in that fight. Either that or Kylo Ren did. I can't remember. Against the Emperor. Because, there's a little sequence that Luke explains where he was training Leia to be a Jedi, but then she left becoming a Jedi because of what happened. She could feel something bad was going to happen with Kylo Ren or something. I can't remember. But basically, she left becoming a Jedi. Which is kind of cool. That's kind of cool little sequence they showed. Even though I felt the de-aging in that scene was kind of weak. It's still kind of neat that at least we know she did work at becoming a Jedi. Like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense why she wasn't a Jedi in this sequel trilogy. So that was kind of cool. So props to that. So Rey buries Leia's lightsaber and Luke's lightsaber in the ruins of Lars' moisture farm on Tatooine. As she's walking away, this old lady with like a space camel shows up, and she's like, "Who are you?" And Rey says, "Rey Skywalker." Okay, I get it. Yeah, she's not a Skywalker, but I understand. And maybe the fact that Ben gave some of his life to save hers, it's kind of like they're kind of like one now. And then she walks away in the sunset, and that's it. That's the end of the movie. Oh wait, you see the Force ghost of Luke and Leia one more time. Yeah, and that's it. And it's kind of like looking back on it now, talking about it, it's kind of a rough ride. There's a whole lot that doesn't make any sense. All the criticism of it is totally valid. It is a weird mess of a movie that is trying to retroactively fix the last movie while also trying to be its own movie. And it almost made me feel like legit. Now, they can remake The Last Jedi to make it fit The Rise of Skywalker better. Like, they can legit do that, I feel like. like before, it's like, no, they gotta go off of The Last Jedi. This movie didn't go off The Last Jedi. Some things that The Last Jedi established were used, but story-wise, my god, man. And all the stuff, it fucking throws The Last Jedi on its back. Snoke is like clones that Palpatine made. You see a bunch of tubes of Snoke in there. Oh boy. Oh man. But I had fun. I walked away smiling. You know, and in this day and age, what more can you ask for? You know, a little bit of fun. I escaped. I made fun of it, you know, with my family. But what can I say? I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. So that's that. That's Star Wars. Did it conclude all 9 films? Did it wrap them all up? No. God no. God no. The real ending of like the true Star Wars is Return of the Jedi. That is the best ending. That's all you really need. You know, it ends on a happy note. Everyone's together. The galaxy's been saved. That's it. That's all you need. Bam. Done. Don't need anything else. I mean, we've got the old EU. We've got the Thrawn trilogy. Fuck the Thrawn trilogy. We got the Glove of Darth Vader trilogy, or 6 books. God damn it. Anyways, we've got the Glove of Darth Vader series. We've got a ton of great sequel stuff in the old EU. It's not necessary, but it's good. This trilogy, although I had fun with it, it is schlock. It is pure schlock. The Rise of Skywalker, I think, knows that it's just absolute Flash Gordon fantasy schlock. And I think that's where it kind of shines a little bit. I know George Lucas, you know, was inspired by Flash Gordon when he did Star Wars, but the original Star Wars especially comes off, I don't know whether by mistake or limitations or whatever, it comes off very, you can take it seriously, you know, as opposed to Flash Gordon or something like that. Like, it's a very lived-in galaxy, lived-in worlds, lived-in cultures, used, you know, machinery and stuff like that. It feels very, very real. And whereas these don't, these are definitely shut your brain off and just sit back and enjoy. I I think that's why The Last Jedi is so shitty, is that it tried to be this sort of philosophical smarty pants movie, and it just had a lot of shitty modern politics in it. This I can definitely say, The Rise of Skywalker is void of any garbage politics. It's straight up space fantasy adventure. That's really all it is, and I appreciate it for that. That's great. That is definitely a good thing. Yeah, that's it, man. I liked it. I had a good time. Yeah, totally. It does not come close to the originals. Does not wrap up all of the movies. Hell, it does not even wrap up this new trilogy. The only thing it wraps up is the movie itself, and even then, almost not. It's doesn't explain everything. There are still questions to be answered. I don't know if I don't know if they're doing that on purpose because Maz Kanata's gonna have her own spin-off movie about how she found Anakin's lightsaber. I hope not. I'm not invested in that story at all. Maybe that will be revealed in The Mandalorian season 2. Maybe The Mandalorian gonna team up with some Maz and they're gonna find Anakin's lightsaber. I hope not. I hope to God they don't tie The Mandalorian in with anything main Star Wars saga. I want it to go off and do its own thing. I'm already a little bit like, because it relies a little too much on Baby Yoda. I'm like, you're walking that line. You're walking that line. So I'll talk about The Mandalorian later. On another vlog-esque video, I'll talk about The Mandalorian. But I enjoyed the movie. I enjoy movie. enjoy space movie. Also, the music to The Rise of Skywalker. The music to The Rise of Skywalker is really good. It was a really good sounding soundtrack. One of the reasons it's so good is because they use a lot of tracks from the original trilogy, and those are beautiful tracks. And like listening to it in the theater with the rumble and all that, it was really nice. It was really nice. It felt really old school. It felt great. So I like the soundtrack quite a bit. I like all the sounds, actually, as a matter of fact. It's really good looking. The special effects are really good. That's all I have to say about it. So, yeah, I'll got some more videos on the way. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm Rossdude. Out.